Hey, everybody. Yes, yes, yes. It's the Santita Jackson Show, and I got a motley crew with me today, and I love it. I love it. I love it. Here on AM 950 Radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. I already see you, Ashley from Memphis, just showing out because you're here first. It's all right, everybody. Like and share. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. I want to talk about the election 2024, but we are first on the Santita Jackson Show YouTube channel. Like and subscribe there. Thank you for being over there, Ashley. Like and subscribe on the Santita Jackson Show YouTube channel and the Santita Jackson and Friends Facebook page. Please, please, please get on over there. Am I about to sneeze?
Oh, God bless you.
Hallelujah. Excuse me. Thank you.
God bless you.
And thank you. And then X, I am at Santita J. That's right. What are we going to talk about? We're looking at this record haul, fundraising haul of Kamala Harris. And we're excited about that. I can't help but be excited. I have to be very fully transparent with everyone. I have known her more than 40 years. We were at Howard together. She was a year behind me. We were in not rival sororities, but the two biggest sororities on campus. She's an AKA, I'm a Delta. We've known each other through that. Someone I pledged was her best friend, all of that, all that. So I can't look at her and not want to support her because it's personal for me. That having been said, I will always be a critical supporter because I know that if you want to fly, you got to have resistance, right? I know that Abe Lincoln would not have gotten to where he got to without Frederick Douglass. I know A. Philip Randolph was necessary. Roy Wilkins was necessary. That Mary McLeod Bethune, they were necessary members of the kitchen cabinet of FDR. And I wish President Obama had embraced Cornel Weston and Tavis Smiley. They weren't trying to hurt him. They were trying to make him great. That's the only way you get great. Lincoln put it this way. He would always respond to criticism with a story. And so someone asked him how he had this team of rivals. You remember this book, Cranky Librarian, Team of Rivals by Doris Kearns Goodwin. It's a fabulous book about Lincoln and all of these crazy people he had around him. And it was a team of rivals. They rivaled with each other, and they even rivaled him. That having been said, he was asked, why is it that you keep these people around you? I mean, you could easily let them go and just get some allies, make your life easier. He said, oh, no, no, no. He said, there was a poor farmer who lived down the way from me when I was a little boy. And when I'd see him with this horse, maybe he looked like Don Quixote's horse, just broke down, could barely move, but that's how he moved on his farm. So he got up to the farmer one day and he was going to shoo this fly away. And the farmer said, no, 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 don't do that. He said, if this horse was not bothered by this fly on his ear driving him crazy, he wouldn't move. I need that little fly. Think about that, everybody. Think about it. Even with your criticisms of Kamala Harris, I would say even of Trump, just be loving. Make sure that the criticisms that you have are constructive. Let's spiritually grow. Because we need to be growing. We need to be building, not tearing people apart. Think about that, everybody. And I mean that for even with your political opponents. Don't do that because your political opponents have something to teach you also. When you look back over your life, you will see that. We learned that from Vice President Hubert Humphrey, who called my father to come and be with him, Leslie, just before he died. The last 2 or 3 weeks, he was calling people up to Minnesota. I want to see you, want to talk with you. And he said to my father must have been about 34, 35 at the time. He said, I see a magnificent future for you, Jesse. I think you're going to do something great in this country and in this world. And I want to share some things with you. Wonderful man to have done that for him. And he was talking about how he was calling all of his political opponents. He said, there was a time to fight. Now is a time to reconcile. I don't want to go to heaven with this on my chest. And I want you to understand that too. That in life, when you're living, there's a time to fight and then there's a time to reconcile. Think about that, everybody. And let us move together in a way that is loving so that we can grow. You grow by addition, not by subtraction. And if you must subtract something, let it be that which is not like God and let that go. Now, C.K. Hoffler, I've got the cranky librarian, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant activist. I mean, you're from a lot of organizations, Leslie. Which one are you? Or which one are you with today?
So, as you know, from my other times on the show, I have organized with Jewish Voice for Peace for the past 10 years. I also work with the International Jewish Coalition for Justice in Palestine, and as well as with some local organizations. But primarily, my activism has largely been about anti-racism, anti-Islamophobia, and of course, Palestinian rights, and the broader issue of international human rights.
Well, see, and that's I want everyone to before you go, CK, because you do much more justice to all that you do. Camilla Williams, Camilla, we got you out of class. You organize for and do what?
So I organize with Good Kids Mad City, a youth organization, and I also hold an elected capacity, which put me in a space with a lot of elected officials, especially these past few weeks. So I have a lot to say about what's being said behind the closed doors.
Okay, well, we're gonna speed through these intros so we can get
Yeah.
right to it. Yikesy, yikesy. Okay, T.O. Hardiman. T.O., you there?
Well, I ran for governor before. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, okay, I ran for governor 2 times here in the state of Illinois. The first run, I secured close to 30% of the state vote. Second time, I ran against some big-time billionaires. It wasn't as easy, but we took care of the business, and I was representing the people, the people, the voiceless people, in other words. So I'll give my commentary about the presidential election once we get that, but that's who I am. That's another hat that I used to wear as a politician. I'm no longer a politician now. I'm the president of Violence Interruptions not-for-profit organization. I teach as an adjunct professor in the field of restorative justice and criminal justice. And God has blessed me. I'm filming a movie now titled Mr. Ceasefire, a motion picture. We did some filming yesterday. Pray for me. Pray for me.
No, I love it. I love it. Attorney Darrell Jones.
Yeah.
Thank you, Santita. I'm the board chair with the Transformative Justice Coalition. We do social justice and voting rights issues around the country, encouraging communities to get out and vote, and also co-leading that organization as well. And I tell you, Santita, I can't wait to get into this discussion. I'm also a former elected official, 2-time council member here in Anne Arundel County, Maryland. So just ready to have this discussion.
Okay, Dr. LaShawn Latrice.
Good afternoon, Dr. LaShawn Latrice. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for having me. It is an honor to be able to be on this illustrious panel. I am a community psychologist. I'm also a founder of Make Noise for Change. I work with Justice for Nick with my sister Cassandra Greer-Lee, and I am a community advocate, and I'm fighting for social change.
I love it. Attorney Linda Bernard.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. As an attorney, of course, we fight for civil rights and for the rights of individuals. As an elected official, as an elected Detroit police commissioner, we're over the department, which is much smaller than your department. It's only about 3,000 sworn officers, about 1,000 civilian officers. But in addition to that, I'm a person who considers myself a patriot. I love our country. I love my community. And I want our country and our community to thrive.
Well, amen. And she's also won 3 cases before the Michigan State Supreme Court. Thought I'd say that. And she's the first black person.
And I have a terrible cold.
UPenn Law School. First black person to get a master's in law from UPenn Law School. And she's also one of the craziest people we know. But I digress. Court TV legal analyst. Chair of Rainbow Push, former president of the National Bar Association. I'm trying to give you runway because I know you're not feeling well, but you wanted to just be with us for a hot second to tie in the last segment as we talked about this tragic case in Georgia, where we have had 4 killings, these back to school shootings. We've seen a father and a son in court. They're both looking at being tried for murder. And we've got a mother who's about to be arrested. That whole family, it's heartbreaking. But we're also talking about this election. And there's a lot that we've got to look at in this election, because we're looking at the fact, C.K. Hoffler, one of the things that we learned from Reverend Jackson's campaigns was that a black candidate as they cross over. And as a black person, you're always crossover. You need about 95% of the black vote, period. And that is what Reverend got when he ran the second time. And that is what Obama got when he ran each time. Well, he got 92% the second time. But you got to go over 90%, which is not where Kamala Harris is right now. You've got the uncommitted voters who are still not committed to her. You still have the Arab American community who are smarting from not having been welcomed to the stage at the Democratic National Convention. You've got that. And you got a whole host of issues. I mean, it's a tough climb, but she can do it. That having been said, she's got to lift those poll numbers, and they've got to match this incredible fundraising haul that she's been able to make. So you wanted to tie everything together before you go, Attorney C.K. Hoffler. And of course, her show is on WAOK every Tuesday. She's not going to say it. Every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, Daryl Jones has a show on WOL every Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Had to get that out the way. CK, when will you be on Court TV again before you go?
Where will I be again? I'm done for the week. I've been on 3 times this week. But next week I will be on. I don't have the times yet, Santita. I know.
But we should be on the lookout for you.
Yeah, be on the lookout. I'm on Court TV every week, pretty much.
Okay.
But Santita, you had a magnificent panel, magnificent show before this one where we talked about the tragedy in Georgia, where a young 14-year-old killed 4 people. A young white male who was 14-year-old killed 2 Black and brown children, an African-American child and a Latino child, and 2 white teachers. And so the reason why I say that is because we are in a crisis in terms of this country as it relates to gun control. We are in a crisis as it relates to the state of Georgia, where any and everybody can carry a gun, no background checks and all that. We don't have the rigidity or the restrictions that other jurisdictions have. We are in a crisis in this community, the Atlanta metropolitan area. I have parents that live not far from where this happened, and I'm probably about 40 minutes away. And I say that because as a result of that shooting, many, many other schools have received threats of shootings as well. So I am in prayer for everyone. I think part of me not feeling well is because of the trauma, and I'm not someone who knows anyone at that school. And I'm just watching this like everyone else, and I'm traumatized. I have children, so I'm traumatized. I can imagine we all are as a nation. How is this going to impact the election? Well, gun control is one of the issues that Vice President Kamala Harris is going to have to address, and that she has addressed. And she's going to have to continue to address that issue. Right now, her numbers are not as high as they're going to be, I believe, with the Black community, but she's going to have to continue to do that and pump a lot of resources, this unprecedented amount of money that she's raised and her team has raised, because it's always a team effort, into Black media, into the Black community, and into educating our people. On my radio show, Daryl, I don't know if you have this experience, and Santita, you as well, people call in all the time with wrong information, bad information. And it's hard to educate someone on a radio show, and it doesn't matter which side they are politically. The information is they're not engaging with basic information that's important. And the only way to address that, and what Vice President Kamala Harris has to do, is continue to pump money in our communities into the grassroots efforts. And I think she's doing a better job than any Democratic president has done in my lifetime. She's going to have to address the war in Gaza in a more pointed way, because she's going to have to get every single vote that she can. It was always going to be a tight race. I think she's doing incredibly well. I don't believe half the polls, but I think she's doing incredibly well. She's just going to have to push and push to the bitter end and take nothing for granted. But in terms of Santita, your question with our community, she's going to have to continue to push and educate and reach out. And she's been very effective at reaching out. She's going to have to do more, and her surrogates are going to have to do more in the communities, because that is how you incentivize people just to go out to vote, just to vote. And there's some people who are skeptical, some people for gender reasons, they don't like this woman thing, and some people because they're like, well, we don't know what she is. Well, yeah, we do know what she is. But anyway, all of that, there's still some skeptics. but she can overcome that and she can win. And that is, and the fact that she's raising so much money is proof positive of people in an unprecedented way believing in her. And she has a lot of momentum coming from the convention, but it's going to take all that and then more, pushing to the limit. Everybody's going to have to push to the limit for her to have a chance of winning. But that war in Gaza, because see, people can't erase what they saw, and they hold President Biden, or some people, 100% responsible. They call it his war, and if they hold him responsible, they're holding Vice President Kamala Harris responsible as well. So on some level, she's not going to be able to do a lot about that, Santita, but she's got to keep on addressing that.
Well, she's going to have to deal with that, because people hold her responsible too, because she's not pivoting hard enough.
Right.
And I mean, because that's it's because it's a worldwide issue.
It's a worldwide issue. And I do think it was a mistake that at the convention, they didn't allow, there probably was somebody from who could have been, who was an advocate on behalf of Palestinian interests, because I can understand them not wanting to have an explosive situation. We get it. It's the convention conventions are well orchestrated, well planned. It's a production. But there probably was someone who could have spoken.
Probably. First of all, you got James Zogby, who's
right
on the DNC.
If your dad had been able to at that point, it would have been your dad.
No. What? No, because they're not feeling him that much. But
if your dad could have.
But what I'm saying is, you got Jim Zogby, who they've been working with for 40. No. I mean, and they know he's not going to go off the rails. They know there's some people they work with who they know know how to toe the line. It was a mistake.
I think it was a missed opportunity for sure. But I do think this. I think that she addressed the issue forcefully at the convention.
Well, let me pivot, because Leslie, this is something, and Gaza and now the West Bank, they've been after the West Bank for a while, but the West Bank is taking massive hits now.
So I just wanted to give a slightly different perspective on what happened at the DNC. It's not as though they were looking for somebody or that there was any difficulty finding someone to speak. So there's a Georgia state representative, Rua Roman, who had actually given them a copy of her speech. So they knew what she was going to say. It was not a wild-eyed, crazy speech. It didn't accuse anybody of committing genocide, but it was simply expressing her view as a Palestinian family that has suffered from this ongoing genocide, not just since October 7th, but really since 1948. Also, the uncommitted movement had 30 delegates at the DNC. Mm-hmm. And when a couple of them held up a sign, everybody there is holding up signs. And when a couple of them held up a banner that said, "Stop arms to Israel," other Democrats ripped the banner out of their hand, including attacking a hijab-wearing woman who was holding up the sign. They intentionally blocked the view of the sign with their own Harris signs. And then the people who were official delegates were escorted out of the DNC. So I think that for many of us to continue hearing that supporting Harris is the only way to continue democracy in the United States and to see the allegedly Democratic Party acting in such an anti-democratic way seems like hypocrisy to us. And in terms of what Harris could do, it is true that she has actually expressed compassion for Gaza, which is not something we've ever heard Biden do. Mm-hmm. But what people are looking for is more than simply asking for a ceasefire at this point. What people are asking is that she make a statement saying that she would be willing to at least consider conditioning aid to Israel until we are clear that Israel is not using our aid to commit human rights abuses. And this is really simply asking her to abide by the Leahy laws that have been in existence for decades, which state that the United States is not supposed to give money to countries that are going to use that money to violate human rights. And we know that that is what is happening with this $20 billion that we have just sent to Israel. So yes, I think she can win some of those voters over, but I think it's also important to remember that the uncommitted movement is allied with the Democratic Party, but there is also the Abandon Harris movement, which is a separate movement primarily of Muslim and Arab Americans. And a lot of independent voters are now affiliated with that movement as well. And we have seen in numerous surveys that independents over and over, there was a poll from YouGov, there was a poll from CBS, there was a poll from the Arab American Institute. And what all these polls say is that independents and people who are uncertain are more likely to vote for Harris if she makes a statement saying that she would condition aid to Israel, and that they are more likely to not support her if she continues to support the Biden policy of unconditional support for weaponry for Israel. So all she really has to do to win over a lot of these independents is to at least say that she's willing to consider conditioning aid, that she's willing to go against the official Democratic Party platform, which says that that aid is ironclad and which demonizes not just Palestinian resistance, but even nonviolent movements like the boycott, divest, sanctions movement. So that is something that she could do that I think would make a big difference in winning over many, many independents.
Okay,
Well,
well,
Santita, I'm going to have to run. I'm going to have
thank
to run.
no, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for including me. Can I just leave y'all with a reminder of something just really quickly that should put a smile on your face, because I'm not even going to ask for any comments. I just want to remind people that in 2016 or thereabouts, maybe, yes, after President Donald Trump was sworn in, one of his first public appearances, I can't remember the dates, he talked about Frederick Douglass in the present. And he thanked Frederick Douglass for his contributions in the present. So on that
Go
note,
ahead, Donald.
on that note,
That's right.
I'm going to leave you all because I'm really not feeling well. But when we talk about education being fundamental, reading being fundamental, he talked about the Frederick Douglass, our Frederick Douglass, as if he were alive right then and there in a press statement, I mean, at the White House. So anyway, I'm going to run, and, for everything, and I will feel better. But I have to tell you, I believe my head is pounding the way it is because of the trauma that we are all feeling.
Well, I hear you. You're down there in Georgia, but we feel it everywhere.
Everywhere, and we are a country, I think, in crisis. But I believe there's hope. I believe there's hope. We always got to believe there's hope. And your dad, Santita, has taught us to always keep hope alive. I'm not trying to coin his phrase, but there's always hope. There's always a better tomorrow. And I think we're well on our way, but we're going to have to work for it. It's not going to happen. And I love that there are suggestions, Santita, that are coming from your show, from people who are experts and are in different spaces who can help guide us, hopefully, to a better place.
Well, I mean, and we love you. Of course, WAOK every Tuesday at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Join CK there and catch her on Court TV and let Court TV know that we want her to have a show now. Be quiet, CK. Know what I'm doing. Why not? Why doesn't she have a show? Why not? Why? No.
Okay.
Stop. Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night. Good night.
Bye, CK. Good seeing you.
That's right. That's right. She needs a show. Why not? They keep digging up all these other people. Why not? Put somebody on. But I mean, we're seeing the disconnect, and I thank you, Leslie, for helping to understand, because helping us to understand what happened at the television show, because it's not really a convention anymore. It's a TV show, and we did see this man physically attack these supporters who were simply being supportive of the Palestinians who are being massacred in Gaza and now the West Bank. And we need to deal with that, because I've spoken with several people from Uncommitted who absolutely are not committed. And we can't act like these people are not there. And while I'm excited about this fundraising haul, and I think that is a hopeful sign, there's still a disconnect. No, you can get to that. Well, but for me, that's a hopeful sign. That having been said, there's a disconnect between what she is, between the money she's raising. And I do trust polls. See, suddenly we don't trust exit polls because now we have computers. Reverend never liked the computers counting, because it doesn't matter who counts the votes is what matters, not the vote count. So
Correct.
we need to deal with that. You can't trust, and there's a lot of integrity that is missing from the system, and we got to deal with that too. That's where you have all of this unrest coming from, and it's not just coming from the so-called MAGA people who they say are from the right. A lot of people don't feel good about a lot of things that are going on around here. So come on, everybody. The plurality of Americans are independent. The plurality. So Americans are up for grabs, everybody. Let's keep it 100 here. So you jumped in, crotchety, angry Linda. So
I'm not angry. I'm certainly not crotchety by any stretch of the imagination.
but tell
no,
me, what do you
I,
make of what's going on here?
No, I think that and everyone on this call on this broadcast is just incredibly bright, and I've learned so much from you. I really appreciate it. But I mean, $500 million wasn't raised, I don't think, by individuals. I think it's dark money, and I think it's a hell of a lot of it, which tells me, and it's told me all along, quite frankly, with the administration, that other people are in charge. Nobody's in charge in Washington right now. I haven't been since Biden decided to go on vacation for literally a month. But I mean, this is of grave concern to me, because that's more money than most countries have, quite frankly. And by the end of this, she will probably have raised $1 billion or close to it. And it's what Jesse Jackson said during both of his campaigns, and even now. You always got to look, see, where did the money go, and where did the money come from? That's the question, because that's going to tell you what kind of governance we're going to have, what kind of leader we're going to have. That's why most of the people on this call have been involved in grassroots leadership, meaning that your support came from the people. It came from the grassroots. It didn't come from super PACs and everything. $500 million in 30 days? Clearly, this is not something that we, the people, have anything to do with. And that's very disturbing to me. And I think, quite frankly, Leslie, that's exactly why you haven't gotten the recognitions that you have asked for regarding there being conditions set on our support for Israel, and why there has not been a tremendous outcry about the polio, the number of children. As I understand, Israel has more kids with one limb than any place in the whole world, and it's a little bitty place. I mean, in the whole, and that's a little bitty place, and all these things that are happening to people, buildings falling on them. Who's going to pay for all that? Who's going to rebuild that? I know America shouldn't have to do it, and if we hadn't destroyed it, it wouldn't even be a thought. So, I mean, I just think that, she's a sister, she's this, that, the other, but there's nothing, in my personal opinion, that she has done that has earned her the right to be as an existing vice president. If she was my vice president or anyone's on this call, on this broadcast, the right to be president. She's had one job for 4 years, did zero, minus zero. How do you get a promotion when you've done nothing for 3.5 years, but you want a promotion? Pardon me? That's just my position.
Okay, well, I think she has done something. Number one, she's been loyal.
What? You
Well,
can't
no. We can
Nobody
disagree.
can.
No, we can
Other than
disagree.
Giggle. A lot. I call her Giggles.
Okay, well,
Because there's nothing else that has distinguished her in 3.5 years. So Leslie, I don't know where you think this is going to come from, but I mean, as my mama used to say, you can't make silk out of a sow's ear. It's either there or it's not. If you're a leader, like everybody on this call is Santita, a demonstrated leader. Demonstrated. We could show you the before Leslie or the before Daryl and the after. In this instance, there's a before, but there's no after. So therefore,
Carol,
doesn't exist. Wait, one final point. And the vice president is even worse. 30 trips to China? Pardon me? Who gets married
you
in
mean
10
the vice president? Wait a minute. This Tim Walz, not vice president.
Right, him. Who gets married in Tiananmen Square? Santita, where I remember when your father was asked by the people in China to come to Tiananmen Square as a result of that huge massacre they had there. I happen to remember that when they used those tanks and all that stuff against all those people. And your father was horrified, and the whole international community was horrified by it. And you get married where there's been a major massacre, and then and then go back for a honeymoon, and then go back 30 more times. Pardon me. There's something very, as your father says, very wrong with this picture.
Well,
Sort of like having a plantation wedding.
Well, wait a minute. He didn't say that about them or this, but I hear you. Carol Sanders has said Kamala has never been in a primary position of presidential leadership. She's in a secondary position. That is true. What did Dan Quayle do for you? Whew.
He didn't have any responsibility.
Wait a minute. And neither did she or Mike Pence.
Right.
Dick Cheney. Yeah, I know. Well, Dick Cheney ran things, y'all. Stop it. Okay. And I don't know why. I don't know how it is that we have made Liz Cheney, who voted with Trump 90% of the time, about 89 to 90% of the time. I don't know why she's a hero. And I don't know why she feels that the Democratic Party is a comfortable place for her to be. And I'm not digressing. We need to ask that question and answer it. Hello. Thank you, everybody. Why does she feel so comfortable? No, why does she feel so comfortable over here? What's going on? Have we moved that far to the right? Yeah, I said it. And I'll add more to it before I take anything back. But let me get around. So I want everybody to share. Be quiet, Linda. T.O.
I'm not saying a word.
Well, Santita, first time I ever heard the word giggles. I know Mrs. Hayes giggles a lot. But anyway, I want to say this. Speaking on behalf of the people, I sympathize. I say it one more time for the record. I sympathize with the people in Palestine, but at the same time, I'm more concerned with issues in the African-American community. So, it doesn't matter. See, this is the thing. Nobody wants to really take reparations to the higher level. I teach a class also on the history of the civil rights movement from 1954 to 1970. Dr. King, Jesse Jackson Sr., Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seals, Angela Davis, some of the ladies back in that era, they did their job. They got us civil rights. They secured civil rights. They did that. I think the next civil rights movement on a higher level, civil rights 2.0, is securing reparations. And nobody wants to talk about it. We talk about issues right now on both sides. Think about this. Illegal immigrants. I'm not against the people. I understand they want to come. I got that. But they should come here the proper way. Right. Correct. In California right now, you got some of the illegal immigrants receiving $150,000. And then the General Assembly in the state of California, we couldn't get reparations passed. So that's my issue, reparations and making sure my people are looked out for. We've been voting Democrat for decades. I was raised as a Democrat. I'm leaning another way nowadays. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but the point is this here. The urban ghettos have been the same since the late 70s. I'm talking about the ghetto. It's been the same. We've been voting Democrat. We should be living in utopian type of societies in our communities. The ghetto should look, even the country of Tanzania, after the genocide that took place, they transformed Tanzania. No, they transformed Rwanda. I'm not talking kind of fast sometimes. Let me slow it down. They transformed Rwanda into a utopian type of society. It's one of the cleanest African countries anywhere in the world, okay? And even the president of Burkina, I may not pronounce it right, Burkina Faso, right? The African brother, he's 34 years old. Hear me clearly, everybody. He kicked out the colonizers, took over all the gold and diamond mines. Now he's on his way to the Congo to do the same thing. What I'm saying, we need strong, effective Black leadership, right, whether male or female. I support male and female leadership. But getting back to America right now, the reality is that those are my issues. Reparations, and the issue of making sure that African Americans receive resources. Because, you understand, I work with young women in Chicago. I work with a lot of families that are homeless in Chicago. I'm talking about African American young women that have to be put on a waiting list for Section 8 vouchers. I'm talking about for months upon months of time, but they're still on the streets, living from couch to couch and all these kind of things. Now the illegal immigrants arrive in Chicago. My forefathers, I did my DNA. I might be a light-skinned brother, but I'm 55% Nigerian, okay? I got some other stuff up in me as well, but the point I'm making, my people came over on slave ships, period. And when you talk about reparations, people look at you like you crazy, but the people don't owe us. Yes, they do owe us something. Everybody here that has benefited from the civil rights movement, you got all kinds of groups of people, the Palestinians, the Mexican people, the illegal immigrants, they have benefited off the work of your father, Santita. Sincerely, everybody cannot fashion their movement because, you know, like your father put it out in his manifesto far as the 5 points of community organizing. You demonstrate, organize, the people don't listen. You demonstrate and organize again, right? And, until you get your voice heard, number one, until you reach the goals, your desired results. We as Black folks are not getting desired results in these ghettos out here. The prison industrial complex is alive and kicking, all right? The illegal drug trade is alive and kicking in the Black community, whether we want to accept it or not. I'm concerned about Black folks first. So whatever candidate is going to make sure they're going to reach out and push. I don't think neither candidate is going to push reparations the way it should be, because when they talk about reparations, everybody's saying, Brother Darrell, they'll put together a study. We studied reparations. It's $17 trillion price tag on it worldwide. If you just narrow it down to the United States, it might be $10 trillion. And I'm not just saying money all the time. See, people just, you know, we need the money. We want, you know what? James Brown said, you can have Watergate, give me some bucks and I'll be straight. Give us some money, and we need some free college. Let me say this, and I'll just shut up. I just found out that illegal immigrants in New York City are receiving anywhere from $8,000, $13,000 on a link card. You know how many Black women would love to get $13,000 on a link card to purchase food for their kids for the next 6 months or whatever? They're receiving free rent and all that kind of. It makes no sense. Look.
Well, no, wait, but Tio, let me interrupt here because I need to get around it. Because because what you're saying, we're going to talk about this next week. I keep giving you, and I've given this to you, Linda, and I wish you would read it. I sent it to you, Dr. Latrice. You need to read it. There's a tent program for refugees. Mm-hmm. More than 400 corporations, Etsy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They are pulling these refugees in.
What is the tent?
I sent it to you several times, Linda. Read it.
I'm not talking to you. I was looking it up.
No. Go in your text. I sent it to you. And if you Google the tent program now for refugees, you can see it all over the place. And what they do, Darrell, is bring in people from countries we crush, so that we give them a little bit of money, and then they come here and they go to work for cheap. They settled 38,000 Ukrainians in Chicago, 19,000 Latinos. We're talking about the Latinos. Ain't nobody talking about the Ukrainians who were absorbed into America, and they were fast-tracked not only for home ownership, but for citizenship. We need to know enough that we are being played. Of course, Black people are due reparations. Are you kidding me? Of course we are. But we need to know no, I'm saying that too, but I want you to know how we're being played right now. We're being played.
Well, and I would say another way we're being played, $20 billion could go a lot to those education programs and children's programs and healthcare programs that you're talking about. So I don't think the issue of Palestine is completely separate. I mean, a lot of the issues you mentioned about mass incarceration, militarism, there's this longstanding alliance between American policing and militarization and mass incarceration and the treatment of Palestinians. Many times
who trains the police in America, Leslie?
Well, that's
who trains the police in America.
Yes,
you know what I'm talking about.
There is a lot of crossover between police in the United States and training in Israel. So I don't think the issues are completely separate. But simply looking at the finances, how is it that we can? You're asking how we can afford to give all this money to illegal immigrants. How is it we can afford to give Israel $20 billion
in a week?
And yet we can't fund education and affordable housing and healthcare and things that are going on in urban neighborhoods. I think that's a question that all African Americans should be asking Kamala Harris very, very strongly. And
and all I'm saying is the reason, and I'm going to send you the tent program, Tio, and sit down with it. Because if you're going to bring in twice as many Ukrainians as you bring in as Latinos, we need to say, well, what's going on here? Why have we not heard any fuss about Ukrainians? Because they're being absorbed. I see them, they're doing the nails in my hair salon. And you know what? They are so sad. They've had the trauma. And you know what they've done? They're getting fast-tracked for citizenship. They're getting grants to buy homes. But we're mad at the brown people. Now, we need to be clear on how we are being played here. They just look for a new group of slaves.
Well,
no. And the corporations are doing it. We're over here on a corporate exercise. That's all colonialism is. It's a business enterprise. We were just the chattel.
Wait.
No, you've talked. I got to bring some other people in because we have a limited time, but I promise you we'll talk about this some more. But I want us to get clear. Stop playing this game. And I've sent you this information. And I've missed it. I've mentioned it many times. And I deal in facts. You're entitled to your opinion, but you're not your own set of facts. These people are played the same game for more than 500 years. Black people have been here since 1532 with the Spaniards, not 1619 with the English. And we were brought over here to work. We're bringing these people over here to work after we're trying to steal their oil and break their economy in Venezuela. Shame on us. Shame on us.
They paying them something, Santita. They
Yeah,
didn't pay
yeah, and you know what?
These people didn't get nothing.
They're paying them what? And you know what?
Yeah.
Pay them, and find some money for me.
That's what I'm talking about.
Don't move. No, that's what I'm talking about too. But what I'm not doing is beating down some brown people.
Okay.
These people are playing. I'm not going to be played against. More Black people were sent to South and Central America than were brought here. These people look just like you and me and everybody on this panel. We need to stop it. And you need to understand when you're getting played. We're getting played.
Google
Because they've not they've said nothing about the Ukrainians. Nothing.
Yeah,
nothing.
Zero. I got you.
Nothing. You ought to be infuriated by that. That we're being played, Black and brown are being played against each other while white people are given a free pass to come here and they're getting the money too. You ought to be sick of it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I'll send you the data. I sent it to you. Did I not, Latrice? Because I don't traffic in stereotypes and silly tropes. I give you facts here.
Absolutely.
This 2016, this 10th program.
Dr. Latrice, now 1619, we got it, but we got here in 1532 with Let's go. Latrice.
I thank you, Santita. Thank you for sending me the information. I have been paying attention for the past few weeks, and I know we've talked about this 10 program several times, and I move that next week when we talk about this on the show, we make this a highlight. Everybody do your homework, do your research, get those articles out, look up the data, because what we need to understand is there is smoke and mirrors being put before us, and we have to pay attention how something is always casted before us so our attention can be taken off of the real issue. And I think that's what a lot of people are not paying attention to. What we see in front of us, what's being projected, that's what they want you to focus on so you can miss this over here. But right now, that's the big play right there. It's the overlay for the underlay. Let's pay attention to that. I just want you all to know that when we talk about this election and all the money that's being raised, I heard someone say it earlier, we're talking about where is the money coming from? Where is it leading to? Dark money versus real campaign money versus what's the whole overall goal behind it. So it's a lot of issues being smoked over. Let's keep it real. There's no mention of police accountability. There's no mention of anything that pertains to disenfranchised groups of people. We need to understand that this huge thing they just did back here in Chicago, it was this big party that was projected out to be this big unified thing, but it left a whole group of people out. And so I am not convinced. I love everybody, but I am not convinced that my vote should be casted one way or the other right now. I just believe that I'm not going to put my vote out there without fighting for it. And like you said, we want to hold people accountable. And so if I can hold someone accountable, then that's who I want to vote for. I don't want anybody that I can vote for that's going to go off into the sunset and we're not going to see them for another 4 years.
Well, let me ask you this. What could Kamala Harris do very quickly? Is there anything that she could do to convince you to vote for her?
Yes, I need to hear her talk about some real issues that affect me and the people who I represent, the people I talk to, the people from my community, those that are out there with their sleeves rolled up trying to make a difference every day. I need her to get in touch with those people.
Okay, all right. Well, Daryl Jones, before I come to you, Camilla.
Well, Santita, I think I would pick up right where Dr. Latrice was leaving off. One of the things that a lot of people get sidetracked on is that Americans in the political realm, we are inside out. Inside out is how we think. And what I mean by that is we begin thinking about us individually, us in our community, us in our neighborhood, within the bounds of the United States before we start thinking of Gaza and other places around the world. It does not mean we don't care about them, but it's the immediacy of what's happening to us individually that is our concern. And so one of the things that, that I would certainly lift up, and it's in the spirit of that type of outline, is that when we're talking about the donors, usually you'll hear the political heads, the talking heads talking about the small donors, because the small donors really do resemble a voter. That is a voter's $10. It's a voter's $5. You have the millions of dollars that you hear and everything else in Citizens United, that doesn't represent a person. Yeah, it represents buying influence, but it doesn't represent the vote. And so when we start talking about the money and campaigns, I always look to what are the small donors? What are the small donors doing? Because that will give you an idea as to where the people are. Now, there's going to be a big play with the money to buy people's influence and to confuse people in the vote process and all of that. But the big question becomes there. And I know when I think it was Dr. Latrice, I'm not really certain, that was speaking about that Kamala Harris Vice President Harris hasn't earned her vote yet. I encourage people to not simply look at the presidency, but to look at the members of Congress, that are also running, because they will be controlling in terms of budgeting issues, in terms of foreign control issues. They have the ability to make decisions on issues that go to the community. So it's important that we look down the ballot as well as up the ballot to the president in terms of having people in place that can put in place legislation that will affect abortion. And the whole set that's there. Those issues that may be of concern to you, that can be handled legislatively. But we've got to be certain that the members of Congress, the member of the Senate, member of the House of Representatives are there to be able to pass the legislation. So, that's one of the things I really wanted to lift up here at Santita. We could have talked about gun control. We could have talked more about Gaza. We can talk about the economy. But the economy and gun control and a woman's right to decide what to do with her body, those are some of the core domestic issues that I think are going to really drive this election series and what's going to separate the candidates in this election as well.
Well, I hear you, and I'm glad we're getting heated and getting into it, because you know what? I think this is more representative of what's happening in the electorate, Camilla Williams. I really, and that's why when I see Kamala Harris stuck at 78%, knowing that she needs to be at 95 in the 90s, that's why I'm asking this question. I have my preference, but you know what? On this platform, everybody, wherever you are, Linda, wherever you are, Dr. Latrice, wherever you are, Daryl, wherever you are, Leslie, wherever you are, Tio, wherever you are, Camila and Attorney Bernard, I am fine with it, because I'm not for shutting down people and their thoughts.
Right.
We've been doing a lot of that. In the meantime, no information is getting out, Camila. None of it. You're not hearing about the game that the corporations are playing, because the oligarchs and the corporations run the place.
Yes.
They run the place.
Yeah.
So that's what when we had to fork over $770 billion to Goldman Sachs, or they threatened to shut down our economy. Senator Dick Durbin from Illinois said, "Let's face it, the bankers run the place." Boom. I'm just saying, y'all, put your.
That was on Obama's watch.
No, it was not on his watch. It was on Bush's watch. What Obama did was call the Black Caucus and tell them to change their votes and vote to get this money. And I heard my brother, who was in Congress at the time, on public radio crying, weeping, because he thought it was the wrong thing to do. He said, but because he has asked me to do it, and he promised that when he becomes president, he'll make this right, which he did not. That's why I'm going to vote this way. He said, but I'm devastated. And America was devastated. Remember, the entire communication system for the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate was broken because Americans were so outraged. They broke the system because they busted it because so many people called and wrote email.
Well, I'm reading about your tent foundation. It was founded by Obama in New York.
Wait a minute. No, that's next week.
Okay.
I sent that to you weeks ago.
Partnership for Refugees.
I got you. We still need to, I'm going to send it out again. I'm going to give it to Camila Williams, because Camila, let's go. Because we haven't heard from her yet. Be quiet.
Yeah, I've been enjoying this conversation, because everything that everyone has said thus far is what people are really talking about. But the thing about it is that a lot of these conversations are being held in closed sessions. And the real reason why a lot of people don't want to speak out or share their true feelings about it is because they feel obligated to the Democratic Party. And they feel like if they start speaking out and saying, hey, we really don't think she's for us, or you should do this, they don't want to be cast out. So
where does that put you? Where does that put you?
I mean, I'm still where I was when we had this conversation back in August with her. Because again, still nothing on police accountability. False promises to the families that they paraded around in 2020. You know, they're really hurt. We're really hurt. Actually, doing a DNC, we got the ruling about the 2 officers for Breonna Taylor. The judge threw it out. That hurt us when we like no mention of this Black woman, no mention of accountability. And then again, like someone else mentioned, is our everyday conditions in our community and the neglect from the Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. And when we say giving, a lot of people just giving just to be a part, needing a job, want to be in the in crowd, trying to network. So she has a lot of work to do. And one thing that if VP Harris is elected, the thing that she can do is just go to work. Go to work on police accountability. Fulfill some of your promises that you didn't fulfill. Well, Biden, both of them ran on the same ticket and said, we are going to address police accountability. Fulfill those promises.
Sure did.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting to compare the Democratic Party platform, what we heard at the DNC, with what we heard at the Poor People's Conference, which was held a couple of days beforehand, and how little the Democrats actually talk about poverty. You know, over and over again, you hear the middle class and shoring up the middle class, but right. You don't hear them talking about the issues that Camilla and Daryl and Tia and Dr. Latrice are all mentioning. And I think one thing, and I've said this on the show before, people don't want to be told they have to vote out of fear. It seems that for the last 2 or 3 decades, the Democrats continue to tell not just Palestinians, but Black people and Latino people and poor people and women who are concerned about their right to choose, you better vote for me because the other guy's going to be worse. The other guy is going to take away all your rights. The other guy is going to hurt you, without telling us what they are going to do. What are they doing to protect a woman's right to choose? What are they doing to address police violence? What are they doing to address systemic racism? What are they doing about reparations? What are they doing about affordable housing? As well as what are they doing about Gaza? And the answer is generally nothing much, but you better vote for us because the other guy is going to be worse. And I think this may be one of the elections where they realize that game is not going to continue to work.
Well, you know, I mean, what are you going to do to protect Cori Bush? Nothing. What are you going to do to protect Jamal Bowman? Nothing. And the people already told you that they were coming after them. And they're coming after more. What are you going to do? Ilhan Omar had to protect herself.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think also, you know, talking about the money, when AIPAC went out.
And wait, and let me be clear, Leslie, it's not just AIPAC. There is dark money, period. What AIPAC has done, the system has been structured in such a way it is corrupting, and it is corrupted, and they have gamed it.
But I think what's happened with Jamal and Cori, when AIPAC went over Nina Turner 2 years ago, they had to spend about $300,000 to defeat her. With Jamal and Cori, they had to spend $25 million to defeat them. So I think that Daryl is right that, you know, money only takes you so far, and they can't keep playing this game of just spending millions and millions more and getting less and less of a result from it. So yes, money is important, but is it as important as they're making us think it is? And can right-wing forces continue to spend this many unlimited millions to keep people from seeing what is really going on? And I'm not sure if they can.
Well, you know what? It's very clear that the duopoly has been broken. The plurality of Americans are independent, and those numbers are growing. They might tilt in one direction or another, but they really want to go their own way because they want some answers. Black people will achieve economic equity in America in 500 years. I don't have 500 years. Black families will have negative wealth by 2085. I don't have that kind of time. The University of Chicago is $100,000 per year for an undergraduate. Who can afford to go there? The neighborhood in which it resides cannot afford to send any of their children there. This is ridiculous. There is a tent program for refugees. We settled 19,000 Latinos in Chicago, but 38,000 Ukrainians, and you've not heard a word about it. But we continue to pick on these little brown people. You know what? Load up their car, whatever card it is. Load it up. But load up Pookie's card. Load it up. Put some make the internet a public utility so that all of our children and our families have access to it. Apple is on its way to becoming a $1 trillion company. Turn over these computers to every American. You're still making your money.
Or simply set up a guaranteed income program.
Give them to the children so they can get through school. That's all you need to do. That's all you need. Instead of telling me that there are too many people on earth, Prince William. What did Prince Philip want to do? His granddaddy said, I want to come back as a virus so I can take people out. I mean, come on, y'all. Really? Come on. No. I got to get out of here now. No. I got to get off the air. And we can talk a little bit after we get off of here.
Nope.
But just saying, everybody open your eyes and pay attention. The tent program for refugees, look it up. We will be talking about that next week. I am tired of demonizing. I'm tired of us being off the point. That's me editorializing right now. It's a false choice. We can feed the world and we can feed ourselves. God has blessed America that much. So I'm not going to take some food off of the table of some little brown person whose oil we're trying to steal, whose country we have destabilized. That's what we've done down there, Tio. That's what we've done. We've chased those people out of their homes. Shame on us. I'm not going to take food out of their mouths. No. Those are God's children too. God loves them as much as he loves me. That having been said, feed all the children. Feed all the parents. Feed everybody here. That's the godly way. I don't care what your religion is or if you ain't got none. It's just the right thing to do. You can spend billions of dollars, trillions on wars, but you mean to tell me you can't feed anybody? Oh, no. God ain't going to bless you for that. What does the song say? You'll never get to heaven if you break my heart. No, you ain't going to get to heaven doing this. And that's my goal. The song says, I'm too close to heaven to turn around now. Yeah, I'm sticking with what my great grandmama used to sing. How about that? I'm trying to get there. My grandmama Gertrude, may she rest in peace, said there's one way, the right way, God's way. Now let's go that way and yank all the public officials with us that way. They're going to follow me. I'm not following them. I'm not looking to elect a leader. I need them to follow me. I'm the leader. How about that? Now let's get busy. I love you, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
All right. Okay.
Let's get busy.